New York Slimes, listen to this one. The White House declined to challenge an account in a new book that suggests Obama, in his campaign to overhaul American health care, mischaracterized a central anecdote about his mother's deathbed dispute with her insurance company. By the way, this would be the same Obama who got confused about his mother and father meeting in Selma, Alabama. Remember that? I'm telling you this because something's not right with this guy either. During his presidential campaign and subsequent battle over a health care law, Obama quieted crowds with the story of his mother's fight with her insurer over whether her cancer was a pre-existing condition that disqualified her from coverage. This would be his same white mother who he said, or his grandmother, I guess, where he was talking about her, how she is, she's white, Anyway, back to the mother. And offering the story as an argument for ending pre-existing condition exclusions by health insurers, the president left the clear impression that his mother's fight was over health benefits for medical expenses. By the way, this book that talks about this, A Singular Woman, The Untold Story of Barack Obama's Mother, by Janie Scott, has been out for months. The New York Times didn't write about this yet because the White House wouldn't respond to their inquiry about whether this was accurate or not. So in this book, author Janie Scott quotes from correspondence from the president's mother to assert that the 1995 dispute concerned a Cigna disability insurance policy, that her actual health insurer had apparently reimbursed most of her medical expenses without argument. Mr. Scott took a leave from her job, Ms. Scott, as a reporter for the New York Slimes to write the book. She's not returned to the staff. What does that have to do with anything? On Wednesday, in response to repeated requests for comment that the Times first made in mid-June, shortly after the book's release, a White House spokesman chose not to dispute either Ms. Scott's account or Mr. Obama's memory. Well, one of them's not right. We have not reviewed the letters or other material in which the author bases her account, said Nicholas Pappas, the spokesman. The president has told this story based on his recollection of events that took place more than 15 years ago. No, he's told the story over and over again. How does he not know the situation involving his mother? And why does he bring his mother into the political stuff? In her book published in May by Riverhead Books, Ms. Scott writes that Mr. Obama's mother, Ann Dunham, had an employer-provided health insurance policy that paid her hospital bills directly, leaving her to pay only the deductible and any uncovered expenses, which she said came to several $100s a month. Mr. Pappas suggested that even if Ms. Scott was correct, Pappas being the Obama spokespropagandist, Mr. Obama had not mischaracterized the facts because his mother needed her disability insurance payments to cover unreimbursed medical costs. As Ms. Scott's account makes clear, this is how the left does this. Now they're going to twist what the author said. The president's mother incurred several $100s in monthly uncovered medical expenses that she was relying on insurance to pay. She first could not get a response from the insurance company, then was refused coverage. This personal history of the president speaks powerfully to the impact of pre-existing condition limits on insurance protection from health care costs, unquote. But disability insurance, which primarily replaces wages lost to illness, was never at issue in the legislative debate over the Affordable Care Act. Ms. Scott said in an interview that her reporting relied on copies of letters that from Obama's mother to the insurance company Cigna that were made available by friends. The book concludes that although Mr. Obama often suggested that his mother was denied health care coverage because of pre-existing conditions, it appears from her correspondence that she was only denied disability coverage, which wasn't apparently in the insurance plan. Ms. Dunham, Obama's mother, an anthropologist who worked on development projects in Indonesia, died in 1995, less than a year after her diagnosis. Now, during the 2008 campaign, Obama used several rhetorical formulations to relate the anecdote, stressing in his words that this issue is personal for me. Can you imagine going around the country, giving 5 speeches a day and lying about what happened to your mother with the insurance company? The left can spin this all they want. Obama can spin this all they want. This is what we're dealing with. In his second debate with John McCain in October 2008, he said, "For my mother to die of cancer at the age of 53 and have to spend the last months of her life in the hospital room arguing with the insurance companies because they're saying that this may be a pre-existing condition and they don't have to pay for her treatment, there's something fundamentally wrong about that." And he put it similarly as president in a town hall-style meeting in Portsmouth, New Hampshire in August 2009. He said, "I will never forget my own mother as she fought cancer in her final months, having to worry about whether her insurance would refuse to pay for her treatment." In the Health Care Act, which Obama signed March 2010, outlawed pre-existing condition exclusions for children under 19, started last September. The ban extends to adults in 2014. A professor of health policy and political analysis at Harvard, Robert Blendon, said that if the alternate narrative about Ms. Dunham's dispute had been discovered during the OA campaign, people would have considered it a significant error. He added, "I just took for granted that it was pre-existing condition health insurance issue." Ladies and gentlemen, the insurance company paid for the treatment. He said it didn't. He said she was fighting to her last moments with the insurance company to cover her treatment. If you're going to raise it as an issue and campaign on it and bring it up 1,000 times, what do you mean? It was 15 years ago. Now you're just trying to sort it out. And besides, now you've sorted it out and you were right. No, you were wrong. No, you were lying. According to Ms. Scott's book, Obama's mother, her problem with Cigna started after she left Jakarta, Indonesia, where she had recently taken a consulting job with an American firm, returned to Honolulu for treatment of abdominal pain that had been diagnosed as appendicitis. After being told she had uterine and ovarian cancer, she underwent a hysterectomy in February 95 and then 6 months of chemotherapy, according to the book. The Cigna policy, according to Ms. Scott, allowed the company to deny a claim if a patient had seen a doctor about the condition that caused the disability in the 3 months before employment. During that period, Dunham visited a New York gynecologist. When Cigna obtained the doctor's notes, it learned she had formed a working hypothesis that Ms. Dunham might have uterine cancer. Ms. Scott wrote, "The doctor ordered up a series of tests. Ms. Dunham submitted to most of them. None of these tests indicated I had cancer." Ms. Dunham wrote to Cigna. After several months, they denied the claim. Ms. Dunham, I'm talking about treatment. She got treatment. Ms. Dunham then requested a review. She turned the case over to my son and attorney, Barack Obama. Ms. Dunham said in the interview that she did not turn up documents to suggest Obama's mother had a similar dispute with her health insurer, who she did not name. So there you have it. Let's see here. The actual health insurer had apparently reimbursed most of her medical expenses without argument. My understanding of this convoluted article, she got her cancer treatment. The complaint was about additional payments. What they don't explain here is what other payments are they talking about. Maybe I'll have to get this book. In other words, what else did she want covered? I don't know. Sometimes people demand that their rent be paid for. Sometimes people demand that they not have to pay their deductible. It doesn't really say here, but what it does say is that Obama's a liar. And I remember him saying stuff like this. I do. And so do you. We have to cover pre-existing conditions. My mother, in the hospital bed fighting cancer, had to fight the insurance companies too. No, she didn't. They paid for her treatment. It had nothing to do with quote-unquote pre-existing conditions. Now, what are we to make of that?